One game. That's all it took. 90 minutes into the 2026 World Cup, and the tournament claimed its first victim. Just gone. Bye-bye. This is something that has never happened before. No nation has ever done it in the entire 96-year history of this tournament. And if you think this was just a knee-jerk reaction to one bad night in Mexico, you have no idea what was already happening behind that dressing room door. Let's set the scene. Sunday night, Estadio Monterrey in Guadalupe. Tunisia's opening game of the World Cup against Sweden. And it was a bloodbath. Final score: Sweden 5, Tunisia 1. The Swedish attack carved through the Tunisian defense like it was not even there. Alexander Isak scored, Victor Gyökeres scored, Matthias Svanberg scored. It was one of the most lopsided results in Tunisia's entire World Cup history. But here's the part that really twisted the knife. One of the men who scored twice was a kid named Yasin Ayari. And Ayari isn't just any Swedish player. His father was born in Tunisia. So a son of Tunisia put a brace past the country of his own father's birth. You could not write a more brutal opening night if you tried. Afterwards, Sabri Lamouchi stood in front of the cameras and called it painful. He said, and I am quoting him, "We are shooting ourselves in the foot. We are hurting ourselves." He had no idea how right he was, because within 24 hours, he was gone. Now, on the surface, sacking a coach after one game looks insane. Panic, madness. But the second you look behind the curtain, the picture completely changes, because Lamouchi was already a dead man walking before he ever set foot in Mexico. Start with the results. This was not some respected coach who hit one bad night. In his entire time in charge of Tunisia, Lamouchi won exactly one game out of 5. 1. His only victory was a 1-0 win over Haiti. That's it. And the warm-ups going into this World Cup? A horror show. Tunisia lost 1-0 to Austria. Then, and this is the one that set off the alarm bells, they got absolutely destroyed 5-0 by Belgium. 2 warm-up games, 0 goals scored, 6 conceded. The rumors of discontent inside the camp started right there. But the results were only half of it. The real problem was the dressing room, and it was already on fire. Watch the Sweden game closely, and you can actually see it. In the 72nd minute, with Tunisia getting taken apart, Lamouchi subbed off his defender Jan Valeri, and Valeri did not hide it. He walked off visibly furious at his own coach on live television for the whole world to see. When your own players are openly seething at you in the middle of a World Cup match, the relationship is already dead. And then there's the detail that really tells you how far gone this was. According to reports out of the camp, Lamouchi brought his own son into Tunisia's training base during their World Cup preparations. The federation was not happy. Officials reportedly wanted to know why someone who was not part of the official delegation was getting access to the squad. And they asked Lamouchi to explain himself. Think about that. Before a single ball was kicked at this World Cup, the manager and the people who hired him were already in a standoff over trust. The players were turning. The federation was suspicious. The results were a disaster. The Sweden game did not cause the sacking. It was just the match that lit the fuse on a bomb that was already ticking. Here's where it gets even crazier. Because Lamouchi just walked straight into the World Cup record books for all the wrong reasons. In the entire history of the World Cup, no manager had ever been sacked after just one game of a tournament. Coaches have been fired at World Cups before, sure, but never this fast. Back in 1998, Tunisia sacked Henrik Kasperczak after a poor start, but they at least gave him 2 games before pulling the trigger. That same tournament, South Korea dumped Cha Boom-kun after 2 defeats. And in 2018, Spain famously fired Julen Lopetegui 2 days before the World Cup even started, after he secretly agreed to take the Real Madrid job behind their backs. But one game into a tournament? Never been done. Until now. Lamouchi is the first. And here's the kicker. This isn't even the first coach Tunisia has fired this year. Back in January, they sacked Sami Trabelsi after they crashed out of the Africa Cup of Nations to Mali. Lamouchi was the guy they brought in to replace him. He signed a contract until 2028. He lasted 5 months. This federation does not blink. They do not wait. They swing the axe. So who do you call to fix a 5-alarm fire in the middle of a World Cup? Tunisia went and got one of the most fascinating characters in world football, Hervé Renard. If you do not know the name, you know the look. Renard is the silver-haired Frenchman, famous for prowling the touchline in a crisp white shirt. He is making history of his own, because this is now his 3rd straight World Cup, with a 3rd different country. Morocco in 2018, Saudi Arabia in 2022, Tunisia in 2026. It is that Saudi Arabia run that should make you sit up. In 2022, Renard's Saudi Arabia side pulled off one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history. They beat Lionel Messi's Argentina, the eventual champions, in their opening game. So if anyone on this planet knows how to walk into chaos and conjure a miracle out of nothing, it is him. He is flying into Monterrey to take over a wounded squad with basically no time to prepare. Wabi Khazri, the former Sunderland player who was Lamouchi's assistant, is staying on board with Renard. The problem? Tunisia's group is brutal. Up next is Japan, then the Netherlands. So Renard has to stop the bleeding immediately against 2 of the best teams in the tournament, with a dressing room that just got its coach fired. Good luck. Now I want to hear from you. Was this a brave, ruthless decision? Or did Tunisia just press the panic button and torch their entire tournament before it even started? Did the players force him out? Drop your verdict in the comments. And subscribe, because we are 5 days into this World Cup and it is already eating coaches alive. And trust me, this will not be the last one. I'll see you in the next one.